Thank you, everybody. And now to hear more, we've come to the part of the program where we recognize our distinguished friend of agribusiness, as we do every year. Although we are gathered virtually, we want to take a time to recognize and have in store a bit of a surprise for that legislator who has been steadfast in his commitment to understanding and championing ag and forestry policy. And so it gives me great pleasure to be able to present the award to this year's winner, especially because I've had the pleasure of knowing him outside of his role in Richmond as a former constituent. I am proud to say that his dedication to the Commonwealth has not changed, and I've come to work with him more closely the past few years. And his dedication and commitment to the institution of the Senate has paved the way for him to broker numerous compromises for our industry. And I know he holds strong loyalties to these institutions, yet none as much as his beloved Washington football team. And we're sad to see them have an early exit from the playoffs this past year. Here we had the great fortune of calling him this year's newly appointed chairman of the Senate Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources Committee. And his reputation for fairness and as an honest broker led to discussion in his office over numerous areas of natural resources, animal production, broadband expansion, and more. Senator Chap Peterson began his career in politics by serving on the Fairfax City Council and as a member in the Virginia House of Delegates. However, in 2007, the voters of the 34th Senate District elected him as their state senator. And in doing so, he walked the entire district and wore out several pairs of shoes. He is an attorney in private practice since 1994, successfully representing thousands of local people and businesses, and has always been an advocate for landowner rights. He is a student of Virginia history and always authoring his college thesis on economics and politics in Annabelle, Virginia. He always asks the hard questions of what we affectionately call team agriculture, and is fair and genuine to all parties in a time when very few possess the level-headedness required to make the good, sound policy that benefits all Virginians. But it is his understanding as a small business owner that sets him apart and made him a fierce advocate for business, particularly for agribusiness and agritourism operations, for which we recognize him tonight. He has proved over the past year to be a proponent of common sense reforms that move the Commonwealth forward while taking into account the industries and businesses' struggles. Senator Peterson, I wish I could be there in person to shake your hand and present your award tonight. We will have the hand-carved plow, and here it is.
Oh my
ready
gosh.
to go the next time we are able to meet in person.
That is so awesome.
But we want to go to your office where we hear a few words. And if you know anything about Senator Peterson's 4 speeches, he rarely is a man of few words. But we will ask him to share a few thoughts. Congratulations on being named this year's Virginia Agribusiness Council 2021 Distinguished Friend of Agribusiness. Senator.
Wow. Kyle, thank you tremendously. Patrick, thank you tremendously. This is a great honor. I was completely not expecting this. I'm not wearing my suit coat right now, and I have a bottle of Mountain Dew at my left fingertips here, which is slightly off camera, but this is a great honor for many different levels. I am the chair of the Agricultural Natural Resources Committee. I love doing that. I've been on it since 2007, and I represent a suburban district, and so I have a different perspective. Ironically, I spent a lot of my youth on a farm. My mom and I co-own a farm down in Middlesex County, and so I was familiar with farming, but I myself grew up in the suburbs. But the bottom line is, first of all, my constituents consume farm products and forestry products. And secondly, as a Virginian, it's part of our legacy. Of my 4 grandparents, 3 of them grew up on farms or ranches. And so that agricultural legacy is our identity as Americans. It's our identity as Virginians. And Kyle, I appreciate your saying that I am a small business owner. I've represented agricultural concerns. I've had major cases involving the forestry industry, the hardwoods industry, cases I've worked on with colleagues in the state Senate, such as Senator Obenchain, Senator Stewart. And so, yes, anyone that represents clients and businesses in Virginia, you're going to interface with the agricultural and forestry industry. So this is a great honor. Kyle, I'm going to sort of step off script a little bit here. When all of this was happening with the COVID, Kyle and I were talking every week, and he was updating me on what was going on and everything from the poultry industry to farmers markets. And he would kind of give me a summary, and I'd type it up and try and send something on to the administration, just because all of this was happening, and it was hard because to me, a lot of the regulations that were being passed, either they didn't make sense or I wanted it to be as flexible as possible, flexible a process as possible. And, Kyle was a great advocate for your industry. Having an advocacy group like Agribusiness was so important because, again, you all had access to me, you had access to the administration, you had access to decision makers. And I very much regret that I can't be there to thank you in person. I will say my wife, Sharon, who is very non-political and really goes to nothing, always comes down every year to go to the agribusiness banquet. She loves the ambiance, the food, and I'll usually bring at least one of my daughters down with her. And so it's regretful. My only regret is I can't accept this in person and look out in that crowd and see, 5, 6, 700, maybe 1,000 friendly faces looking back at me. But we'll do that next year, and God willing. And in the meantime, like I said, all the best, and thank you for that very kind description of me. It's been a great challenge, but a great honor to be the chair of the Ag Committee, and hopefully I'll keep doing it for a few more years. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. And sorry, I did fib a little earlier when I said you weren't going to have to say anything because I had to keep a secret. And thank you to your chief of staff, Kathy Nielsen, long time for us, and making sure you were in your seat at 5 o'clock. Congratulations.